There's been absolutely no shortage of theories as to what's happening in our skies with this latest and ongoing surge of drone and orb-like objects being seen in our skies, especially within the east coast of the US. In addition to multiple sightings in New Jersey, which I think we've all heard about, there have been recent reports from eyewitnesses that are also coming in from Connecticut, Massachusetts, my old hometown, Pennsylvania, Virginia, Maryland. I had someone actually just email me the other day with her own eyewitness report, as well as Ohio, and I'm sure many other states to come. But still, with no definitive explanation from any of our official entities, including and especially the Pentagon. But there are thousands of U.S. citizens with radio silence going on from our officials that are left to speculate what they may be. Now, several days ago, Newsweek actually wrote that an increasing number of mystery drone sightings have been reported in multiple states amid speculation by politicians and other public figures. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security said last week that there was, quote, no evidence at this time that the reported drone sightings pose a national security or public safety threat or have a foreign nexus, end quote. Okay, that being said, look, everyday citizens are not only left to speculate what these may be, many who have witnessed these objects with their own eyes and often on a nightly basis, they're starting to panic with what they're calling drone hysteria as the drone swarms continue, but so does the radio silence from our officials. So at this point, we're only left to speculate the who, the what, and the why of it all, and myself included. But recently, I had the chance to sit down with David Adair, a name you might know. David's been referred to as the original rocket man. He's a renowned authority on space technology. And if you're not familiar with that name, I'll tell you, at age 11, he built the first of what would become hundreds of rockets that were specifically designed and test flown by his own hand. And by the time he was 17, his groundbreaking work earned him the Most Outstanding in the Field of Engineering Services Award from the U.S. Air Force, which, solidified him as a pioneer in this field. So you can imagine when I had the chance to grab him for a sit down to talk about this latest drone mystery while he was actually attending a holiday event at my home here in South Carolina. Of course, I jumped at it. Why wouldn't I? Now, look, even with all of the accolades David's amassed over the years, his thoughts on what we're seeing right now in our skies is, in my opinion, also speculation on his part, but perhaps with a bit more context insofar as understanding the mechanisms at play with these technologies that he's long been involved with. So I will say for the record, I neither agreed nor disagreed with David's assessment about what's been happening. My job was to simply record his thoughts on the matter. So what you're about to see here is my very own impromptu chat with David, filmed on the morning of December 21st in our family room. This was somewhat a spur of the moment, so I opted to stay off camera. I popped my iPhone onto my tripod. I quickly mic'd him up, and I hit record. There were no frills here, just David's comments on this latest drama in the skies. And of course, in David Adair style, if you've ever heard him before, he did give us just a little bit more. He is the storyteller after all. So here now, without further ado, is my exclusive interview and chat with David Adair. David, you were just giving me the story about Pitholem and your wild odyssey with all of this at Area 51 when you were 17 years old. And so here we are in 2024, and so much has happened, obviously, but right now we're dealing with this very big, perplexing mystery that those that may know are just not sharing with us. What is going on? Can you make any connection with what you see happening now? A lot of it being in New Jersey, frankly, the whole eastern United States has been reporting these drone incursions, but also these orb-like structures that are also being sighted. Give me your take on what you think is going on, and if there's any connection whatsoever to some of the weirdness you've encountered.
Well, back in California, I used to live there for about 5 years, and 97, 98, I watched silver orbs float over LA. They were silent, moved very slowly. But then there are times they just zip off. And they look very similar to to what they're seeing in New Jersey now. And that was, 25 years ago. Um, so they're not new. What it is, they've been around for a long time. There's an evolving going on. And I think what they've done is DARPA, and a group like that, has interject AI into the mix. So now these drones have AI as well as remote sensory capabilities, and you're seeing the end result on hybrid. These are hybrid drones, and I suspect the people who's behind all this is China. Because when we shot down their balloon, here we are, a year later, and now all this stuff is happening. I think China's coming back and looking at us in a way we can't even fathom. It'd be like watching a movie, and the camera's always in the room listening to all the main characters. That's their capability now. They can take drones and just listen in on whoever they want to. The president in the Oval Office. We got jamming signals. You got nothing. The AIs hit that and they will overcome it instantly, like a big bug eating a small bug.
So if that's the case in China, that's been talked about and it's kind of been flushed out as probably a no, but we don't know. So let's assume it was some form of a spying technology coming from a foreign adversary. Why would they be detected by people, by human eyes that are seeing them? It almost seems as if they want to be seen because there's lights that are on these things that people are seeing. Very distinct.
And it could be something as simple as an error on their part. They're not stealthing enough. They're being caught by their own excitement to use the technology. Or there's a higher form that does want to get seen. And I don't think a disclosure is going to be a Hollywood version where a big ship lands in the front yard of the White House. I think it's going to be a whole lot more subtle. They'll land in somebody's private backyard and talk to them. And they'll do it millions of times. And the psyche of America and Western Hemisphere will shift over to, maybe it might be alien technology, it is alien technology, and they are here. There's an attitude change. I've been telling my story for about, 50 years. When I first started, people would just turn around and walk out of the room, and I went, well, they don't believe this. To where now they can't get enough of it. Same group, same people. Something's happened. Events around, tic tac, go faster, and all the the federal government saying, with the Navy, we have seen these, the gimbal, the tic tac, and the go faster. We've seen them, and they've been recorded on camera systems of the jet fighters. So now people are going, might be something to that. You talk to an older generation person and mention Area 51 and they'll shut down on you. They don't believe it. Even though we proved that Area 51 exists because President Clinton allowed this man and woman to sue Area 51 because her husband was sick, breathed in some kind of chemicals, and the doctor said, we need to know what that substance is if we're going to help him. He literally, like in X-Men, like that senator, he just turned into water. He disintegrated on the table right in front of him. And the doctor's going, what was he exposed to? We need to know. And they said, place don't exist. President Clinton passed a presidential executive order and allowed them to sue Area 51. First time in history that the federal government admitted that base was there, and they're doing stuff. Do you know Area 51 is exempt of all environmental laws? All of them. They can burn whatever they want when they want. And that toxic smoke got to this man and made him so sick. So
what you're saying is, as we bring this together, that there's obviously a big X factor that we're unaware of, meaning that our own government or some aspect of our government and our military are clear about, not only clear but read in
yeah,
to what is happening from an extraterrestrial and non-human side of the technology, Area 51 being a classic case in point. And so bringing it to today and what may be going on, China, even putting China on the back burner for a moment, do you feel, David, that our government, or this aspect of the government that knows more than they're saying, is fully aware of what we're seeing now, and you know,
they're what they're doing. They're like a leak in a roof. It's first a little few drops, then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger as the roof gets wet. Same thing. They've let out a few drops of truth, and it keeps spreading, and they've been adding to it. And one day when you get to a full disclosure, where it's Hollywood style, they're landing on the front yards, the slick people in DARPA and them, they'll say, we told you about this, y'all just weren't listening. So they'll get off the hook. But yeah, see, there's another part to this whole puzzle that we know nothing about. They, being the federal government, us, the public, there's another third party, the aliens themselves, and you can't control them. What if they just decide one day, it's time that we tell all you Earth people we're here, we're tired of dancing around in the shadows, and this is it. You can't control that. The government knows that, and no matter what kind of contracts they got, if the contracts spill out and there's people's names on it, those people aren't even going to want to be alive, because the world will be after them forever. As traitors, they betrayed our race. So there's serious consequences. And
is this the moment, so to speak, that we are going to start to see the truth leak out? In other words, is this event that's been going on for a couple of months now a prelude?
Yeah, I think, that's a good word, prelude. Yeah, I have a feeling that the third party is breaking down. They're tired of it, or whatever their reasons are. Something might be pushing them we don't have no idea of. But there seems to be a push in a direction of disclosure. I guess maybe they want to run some other more advanced programs that would cause them to have to walk around among us, and for them to get their program done. And something's pushing it. I don't know what it is, but the something is there, and it started. And now you're seeing stuff all over the planet, not just America, countries everywhere are doing that. And they are, they're going to, I think there's preparations underway to give up the ghosts. They're going to finally tell us all what's happened. And because the third party, the aliens on their side, whatever they agreed to, they may not want to hold up on that agreement anymore. So it's interesting. And it's not going away. It's increasing. You can see it. The activity is increasing. And the changing of the public from older generations to younger generations. Younger generations have grown up all their life listening to this stuff and seeing in Hollywood and listening to radio shows and stuff, and they don't have any problems with it. Of course they're out there. They've been out there for years. Whereas the older generation of America still don't believe it all. That's nuts wearing tinfoiled hats on weekends, and stuff like that. it's changing, and it's an acceptance coming, and it's gonna unfold eventually. For whatever reasons that's out there, there are reasons now in place pushing things. So, yeah, and my story suddenly started catching hold. But it's the same story I've been telling you over 54 years. People have recorded me, re-recorded me, and then play the recordings backwards and everything, and they've done reverse speech, all this stuff, and I asked them all, "What'd y'all find?" "You're telling the truth." And I thought, yeah, well, so no big news to me. I knew that all along, but y'all are just catching up. But it's another factor might be more personal, is that the entity that has resided in me for the last 54 years, she's all excited because she said her parents are coming. And I went, "Where are they?" She said, "Oh, they're out by Pluto right now. They're coming into the solar system."
And for the record, tell the audience who she is in a very brief, because you told the story before.
Yeah.
Her name is
Pitholem, Pitholem. It looks like Pithole, Pithole, but the minute the M is attached to it, it goes from Pithole to Pitholem. And try finding that word in any human dictionary. They don't exist.
So the story of Pitholem is one that you gave to Art Bell, which you just told me off camera was the longest interview ever conducted on Coast to Coast AM.
That's
in excess of 11 hours. Is there anywhere, because we obviously can't have you tell the story now, this is your introduction.
You can get a cassette pack.
Okay.
That Coast to Coast makes, and they have sold so many tapes. I mean, it's in the millions, and I never got a penny for it. I don't care. My income comes from other works of mine.
Yeah. But this is what you're talking about, for the audience that doesn't know the story of Pitholem, and this is really your entree into the world of non-human intelligence, and Pitholem being a very central figure in your journey.
Yeah, I guess so, because I told her what happened was when I was taken to Area 51 by the Air Force people from White Sands, New Mexico, which we called proving grounds, and it's the missile test range. It goes by. I've been dealing with it for 5 decades. Names have changed, but essentially, when I went inside the alien spacecraft, the alien engine, its power plant. See, there are 3 different entities in this structure, and keep in mind, I told y'all this 54 years ago, so everybody's picking up on my stuff. There is an sentient being, 3 of them. One is the ship itself, the other one is a power plant, and the third is a crew. And all 3 of them are symbiotic. They merge together, and being Navy for so many years, I tell you right now, people like damage control would love to see this system show up on ships, because imagine you take a torpedo hit and every person down to the cook knows what happened, what the damage is instantly. Man, no need for damage control. The whole entity is symbiotic. So the captain and the crew in the ship, in the power plant, they all know what's happening. And in the case of Pitholem, she was born in deep space, in between the galaxies. And we said, "There's nothing there." She said, "Yeah, there is. This whole solar system's out there." Well, it wasn't until we put the last telescope we just put out, I think it's called Woodson, it turned on its lens. It's shielded away from the sun. So like you cover your eyes when you're looking at a bright flashlight, you can see things around it. As soon as it turned its lens on, we thought Alpha Centauri was the closest star to us at 4.5 light years. There were hundreds and hundreds of planets less than a light year away from us. So yeah, we're right in the thick of a whole bunch of alien worlds, and they're coming and going and have been for years. So we're just catching up.
I want to get your comments before we shut down on, because you presented a lot of possible scenarios of what we're talking about, people are seeing right now. The idea that some of the sightings of these, quote, drones, and others not so much drone-like but more orb-like, whatever they are, have been flying in the vicinity of some of these military sites
right.
that may be nuclear in nature, that maybe have nuclear equipment. What are your thoughts on that and how it relates to the...
Well, even Pitholem has said to me, we're like a baby with a loaded gun with nuclear weapons. It's capable of so much destruction, and we're just trying to stamp out certain people on the planet, not knowing that this thing can escalate real fast where the entire planet goes, and then the planets next to it. And that's becoming unacceptable by the life forms out in space, because they said, we can't have you humans bringing nuclear weapons out here. Are you crazy?
It's been going on for a long time, but do you think it's escalated, and do you think
yeah,
it's part and parcel of what we're seeing?
I
They're
think
trying to snuff this out.
we have never stopped testing nuclear weapons. We've been doing them all through the years. We're just a lot more quieter about them and more stealth. But nuclear destructive weapons, we're still working on them. And so, and they don't, the federal government, the militaries, they don't care what you think about it, or if other alien races, they don't care. It's a survival thing for them, because their job is to protect us, and they're going to do it if they have to kill everybody to do it. It's crazy, but it's the way we are. And so, yeah, I think we're pushing for bigger nuclear weapons. And if not nuclear, there's other things. Now they're looking at EMPs, electromagnetic pulse. And they go, well, that wouldn't kill everything. Oh, really? It would. When the first EMP hit us, it was a CME, corona mass ejection. It struck us on September 3rd, 1869, 4 years after the Civil War ended. And the only thing we had electronic at that time was the telegraph, the grandfather of the internet. And all the wires caught fire. The little telegraph shacks caught fire. They stomped out the fires, restrung the wire. No big deal. Fast forward to 2024. Look outside your window where you're standing right now. Look out the window. What do you see? See all them telephone poles? That's your entire electric grid, 40 feet up in the air, just saying there, hit me. And it's going to catch it one day, and it will come in the form of an EMP weapon. So what's so bad about it? Read the book 1 minute after. The first minute of an EMP strike, and you say it wouldn't do anything, you better think again. Because when the EMP goes off, the pulse, you could bring in 2 nuclear satellites. They detonate over Missouri in the center of the United States. That wave would spread out. What would it look like to you? You'd be sitting in your house and like a circuit breaker. What would happen, there'll be all the lights that are on would get real bright and pop like you see a bulb blow out. All the lights will blow out, and that's the beginning of the end for us, because all the electronic stuff you have will be fried, burnt out. Then the next thing happens, and about 15, 20 seconds later, after all the lights blow out, you're looking around wondering what's happening. Then you look out in the streets, and all those big gray cans hanging on the poles called transformers, they're filled with oil. They use the oil to dissipate the heat as they pass the electric current through. Well, that oil will get real hot, and then it will detonate. And every one of those gray cans you see hanging out there called transformers, they turn into napalm. Now you're napalming everything in sight. And people complain to me, what would happen? Well, what do you think? Napalm going all over the streets, you'll have people on fire running, screaming, baby strollers on fire, They go, oh, you can't talk like that. Oh, yeah, I can. I can put air in my stomach and push it out through my vocals, and it comes out words. Yeah, this shit will happen.
The last interview that we did was about the EMP. So you're saying that there is a link in or a relationship between the potential of an EMP and the threat of a nuclear incident.
Do you know at any time in America there are as many as 10,000 aircraft in the skies? Their engines are now shut off. They can't restart them. So here they're falling out of the sky. They land on churches, schools, hospitals, museums. Yeah, not military targets, just civilian. And all this stuff is happening, and the police is standing there scratching their head trying to figure out what's going on because they know nothing about this stuff.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that. And yeah, as you mentioned, aircraft. Obviously, the FAA is now. I'm bringing it right back to the drone situation.
Yeah.
They've become integrally involved because many of these pilots are reporting not only seeing these drones from their vantage point. Some of them have taken film, including in Manchester, UK. But the lasers that are being pointed, there was just coverage about that.
Yeah.
These planes blinding these pilots. There seems to be an uptick in that. At the same time, these drone incursions or drone sightings are going on. Give me a closing statement on bringing this all together now. What are we going to see in 2025? Is this story going to go away, or is it going to continue?
No.
Give me your closing thoughts on that.
None of this is going to go away. Everything's going to increase. You're going to have more sightings. In my lifetime, if a pilot said he saw a UFO, he lost his career. Now, nobody even makes the notice of it. And guess what? They're still seeing them. It's never went away. None of this is going away. It's going to be more prolific because we're allowing it to be. In other words, we're opening our eyes for the very first time and seeing all that. Hey, what is that thing floating out there? It's not a balloon. It's something else. So everybody's becoming aware, allowing it to happen. And one will feed the other until you get to just about full disclosure.